Tonight on PhillyCAM Voices, heading back to school during the pandemic. We talk with parents and students about virtual learning to start the school year. And what is the emotional and economic impact on this crisis? It's a special edition of PhillyCAM Voices focused on education. Good evening and thank you for tuning in to PhillyCAM Voices. I'm your host, Amanda Johnson. Many students will start the school year with virtual learning from home. And for many, that means a parent or an adult will need to be home with them. PhillyCAM Voices producer Bernita spoke with a parent of 3 about her concerns.
Hello, everyone. Today we have Nikki Harmon in the studio. She is a parent here in the Philadelphia area, and she's going to be talking to us about her experiences with her kids during the pandemic. So, hi, Nikki. It's great to have you.
Hi, Bettina. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
I was wondering if you could start by introducing yourself, telling our viewers a little bit about, who you are, what you do, and where you're coming from.
Okay, sure. Well, I'm Nikki Harmon. I grew up here in Philadelphia, went to all Philly public schools, and now I am the mother of 3 children, 2 who will be starting 7th grade and 1 who will be starting 10th grade. I am a community media professional in that I've been a program manager and an educator and a production mentor. And I also have taught video production and also a novelist on the side. So I do a bunch of things.
That's wonderful. So you have a very creative background in media specifically. So that's interesting to our viewers and our members. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody reached out to you. So how many school-age children do you have?
I have 3 children.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're going back to school in person, virtually, a combination of both?
It's going to be all virtual.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what kind of support have you received specifically from the school district in order to prepare your kids and yourself, your family life around doing all virtual schooling?
Well, we are in the Cheltenham School District, and it has been pretty good. I mean, in terms of communication, obviously all parents really wanted their kids to go back to school, just because it's really hard to do schooling at home. And of course, you really want their kids to have good school experiences where they have extracurriculars and they have friends and lunch period and gym and all the things that you can't really get online. So the district kept in touch with us all summer long. They had parent committees and sent out parent surveys and sent weekly updates on what their decision-making process was. So in terms of feeling very connected, I did. Of course, the ultimate decision was disappointing, but it probably is the only decision to make, was to have them go back virtually. Yeah.
I'm wondering, do you feel that your role in your kids' education has changed in the sense that you're doing a certain degree of homeschooling, or it's sort of even classroom management, within your own home with kids during that stretch of time?
Oh, definitely. So, so when we went into quarantine in March, first we all thought it was temporary. So there was no so it was kind of like the kids were on a 2-week spring vacation, and then work started rolling in, and they had optional things and stuff. And then eventually they got into it. And of course, this year it looks like it's definitely more structured and ready to go. But I don't have a huge house. I have a decent sized house, but I have 3 kids and 2 adults who are working from home. So, and we don't have a home office, which has been the pain of my this whole, last 5 months. I had dreamed about a home office because just having a space where you can shut the door and do your Zoom or do your work would be cool. But as it was, the girls sat at the dining room table with their work, with headphones, so that each could kind of concentrate on their own work. My son, who's a high schooler, ended up doing most of his work in his bedroom. Not at the desk that he has, but on his bed, whatever. And but it's been more than challenging because some teachers gave more work, some gave less. One of my kids is better at like schoolwork, and she enjoys schoolwork, can self-motivate and self-manage. One cannot, so it's like a constant. You have to sit next to her to make sure she's not doing stuff on her other tabs. And, it was challenging. Even at their age, they were 11 at the end of the school year. And bored and tired and then miss their friends. And I mean, it was not easy. Everybody had a couple bad days. We tried to like really give slack about and say like, okay, you don't have to do it today if you're really having a bad day. Sometimes we would have bad days. I spent one day in bed. I just had it. And I just watched TV all day or something. But I mean, like, you just try to cope, and then trying to do stuff that's good for you. But then after a while, even those walks are boring,
So this is definitely, I mean, it's a new experience. A lot of people are going through it, right? And it sounds like it must be interfering with the way that you do your own work as well, right? Like suddenly you have all of these new responsibilities.
Right. So in the morning, you check and see who has Zoom meetings and what time the Zoom meetings are. And then you have to remind the kids because they never look at a clock to like, are you in your Zoom meeting? Are you ready? Did you brush your hair? Do you have on a shirt? For my son, and like, and just trying to make sure that they're there and staying on top of them, even though this is where everything's optional. They don't have to do all that stuff. I made them do everything, if for nothing else, just to break up the monotony of being at home with us all day. So yeah, keeping track of their online meetings and activities and deadlines, and then keeping track of my Zoom meetings and trying to find a quiet place to do it. And then my partner trying to keep track of her Zoom meetings and trying to find a place where we could all, just have some privacy. It was,
yeah, definitely. I mean, it's very distracting, I'm sure, to have everybody in that same space. And I also think, I mean, I know that it has a psychological impact, right? I mean, you're talking about how your kids miss their friends and so much about going to school. Like, I mean, going to school is a complex thing, right? It's not just about learning. It's also, or like learning about the subject matter that you're studying, but it's also about like learning how to socialize,
I'm mostly concerned about that for my daughters because they were going in 7th grade, and they're going to a new school, and at this new school at Cedarbrook, there's a lot more extracurriculars and a lot more stuff and sports and stuff that they could do. And I really hope that they're twins, so I was really hoping they could develop their own interests and their own friend set and their own schedules. And it was much closer to us than the other schools, so it was easy to get them back and forth if we need to. I was really looking forward to like this being a good year for them to really, become their individual selves and blossom a little bit. And I'm very disappointed for them, particularly, that they're not going to have that this year because it's such an awkward time anyway. That you only really meet people through those clubs and extracurricular stuff. That's where you really meet friends. And they were going to, travel from room to room for every subject. So it was a whole new experience I was really looking forward to them moving into and growing up, maturing into. But, hopefully they'll get it maybe in January.
So are they not able to do any sports? Like there are no outdoor sports, no extracurricular activities like that?
No, the district shut down sports. The township is continuing on with travel soccer. One of my daughters does travel soccer, so she's actually been to 2 practices, which have been good for her. I mean, she just really needs to see other girls her age. Plus, they're all out of shape. They used to be like, they're not getting heavy, but they're like, they can't walk up the block without huffing and puffing because they've just been sitting around for months. So she told me she almost had a heart attack the other day. They had to run, back and forth. And she was like, I couldn't do it. So, I mean, that's part of the reason you want your kids active because, otherwise they lose it. Bad enough I'm losing it. I don't want them to lose it too. So we'll see how travel soccer goes. If nothing else, even just practices is good. My son's had a basketball league that he used to play for, and he swam, but I don't think swimming will be coming back. And I think the basketball league got canceled, but he has practices he can go to. And so he runs drills with his coach just to keep in shape. He plays 3 sports. He used to be an athlete, but now he just is a YouTube athlete. All he does is watch dank memes all day.
Yeah, it's a big change. Yeah. And I guess, it's a big change for everybody. So, my final sort of question or thing that I wanted to talk to you about or hear from you was, so this is an experience that a lot of parents are going through, that a lot of families are going through. And what, I don't know if advice is the right word, like if you have advice or if you have thoughts or what, if you had any sort of parting words for people that are in the same situation that you're in terms of how to manage, how to assess this moment. And it doesn't, it can even be a series of questions. How is it that you're thinking about these things or coping? Or
I will say one thing that worked for us. So when this whole thing started, I had what I call the apocalypse schedule. Because I try to make light of it, a little bit. So I made a schedule we did have an exercise hour. So at 12 o'clock, everyone would stop what they're doing and everybody would do some kind of exercise. And of course, there was a lot of pushback, but I try to keep to it. And just so we, just so it wouldn't get so bad. And that's easy. You can find stuff on YouTube. My son has some weights, and because he used to swim, so he was used to stuff. And eventually we kind of let it slide, especially after the school year ended. But I'll tell you, they would look for those hours. Like what I said is exercise hour, and if I was on a meeting or in the middle of something, they would be like, "Mom, stop what you're doing. It's exercise hour." So I do feel like if you can maintain some kind of schedule of something that they enjoy, or even if they don't enjoy, if kids need structure, and if your school isn't providing it, or a lot of schools are doing where you don't have stuff due every day, you have it due Thursday, Friday, or whatever. If you make your own schedule that everybody knows, everybody agrees to, everybody can see on a wall somewhere, I think it'll keep everyone a little more sane. Meals at a specific time, maybe an hour where it's video game time or whatever that people can work towards. I think kind of the loosey-goofiness of quarantine just makes things feel a little less real, and you just feel like it's vague, and you're just kind of waiting for it to be over. But we're going to be in it for another 4 months at least, I think. So you might as well try to really make your best use of the time. But I don't have any advice, but not to be so hard on yourself. If you have a bad day, let the kids have a bad day. Sometimes they just need to be heard. I'll never forget, my son was like, "I'm tired of looking at your faces." I was like, "I'm sorry." But I told him, he's like, "I want to look at kids my own age." And I was like, Yeah, I couldn't argue with it. And I felt bad for him because he was really enjoying high school. He didn't enjoy middle school. He had a hard time in middle school, but high school seemed to be like where he was finding his groove. And I was really sorry that he got pulled out of it so abruptly. But what you gonna do with a pandemic? So.
Yeah. I mean, all that sounds like really good advice. I like the apocalypse calendar. And I do really appreciate the idea that we should let each other have bad days.
Mm-hmm.
That forcing things is not really helping anybody. And I think we can all appreciate that. All right, Nikki, thank you so much for joining us in the studio. And yeah, it was wonderful to have you.
Yep. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, Bettina.
As we know, the school year will be quite different than ever before, especially for students. PhillyCAM Voices producer Bernita spoke to a parent and child about the major life changes that they have to make to accommodate virtual learning.
Hello, everybody. Today in the studio, we have Rosanna and Jose, a parent and child who are preparing to go back to school in the middle of COVID. And so we brought them here today to talk to us about their experiences, give us a sense about what's going on and whether or not they feel prepared. So Rosanna, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rosanna. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is my son, Jose Colon, and he'll be entering third grade soon. Right now, I'm working from home, so I'm going to be monitoring most of his homeschooling.
Is he going back virtually exclusively, or is he doing some in classroom?
He's going to be 100% virtual.
Okay,
His
100%.
school district has no option at this point. It's only virtual.
Okay, and talk to me about that. Like towards the end of the previous school year, did you transition into virtual, or did your time just get cut off?
Yes, well, our time got cut off and then transitioned into virtual at home. It wasn't really as consistent as what this school year is going to look like. They already sent us schedules, so it looks like it's a lot more work. I feel like what we've seen before in spring was more of like a trial, but now it's going to be a lot more work, a lot more in extense.
So, talk to me a little bit about what the experience is like now having school at home, right? I mean, you're a parent, there's things that you have to do, and now you're also, running a school. You're teaching your kids.
Lucky for us, I was a former teacher before for many years here in the state of Pennsylvania. I am a certified teacher. Now I transitioned to be a coach for teachers, so I train teachers now. So I'm still in the environment. I'm still around education. So it's much easier for me to help Jose. It's much easier for me to help Jose at home because I have the experience. But it still brings its difficulties. You hear that? It's difficulties because I still have my 9 to 5. I'm not solely a stay-at-home parent.
So let me ask you a question around what kind of support has the school district provided for this new addition to your life?
They have provided a laptop. That's about it. Yeah.
So if you didn't have the kind of background that you have, I guess, I mean, my heart goes out to parents who don't, right? I feel like they're probably feeling very stressed, So I'm thinking a lot about that. Do you have any, can you talk to us a little bit about what home life is like now with virtual learning sort of being what it's going to be for the foreseeable future? How have things changed?
Yeah, so what I seen last spring with Jose and with other children as I was assisting him, I'll see the other children being virtually, right? There was not a comfortable space for them. There was a lot of distractions, and this school year around, I said I have to create a space for my son away from distractions, something comfortable, something that almost looks like he's in school. You know, having cozy corner, having activities at home, having the materials I need accessible to him. So I had this is my porch. I had a nice comfortable patio set here, and I took all that out and I transformed it into a classroom. I did that for not only for his focus, but also for my focus to help him and just give him stimulated, give him interested, and have him be comfortable here as if he was in school.
Yeah, so it sounds like you made some pretty dramatic changes to your everyday life in order to meet the needs of your kid. Jose, can I ask you a couple of questions? Nice. So you talk to your mom about it, but can you talk to me a little bit about what is it like to study at home, like to learn from home?
In school, you have to do a lot of things because in school there's a fire drill, and in home there isn't.
Yeah, he thinks, you know, in school there's a lot more action packed. In school there's a lot more action and a lot more things to do. But at home he feels more. How do you feel more at home?
Like comfortable.
You said comfortable. One of the things I have asked him before about this was how does he feel about being at home versus being in school? And he said, well, I'm gonna feel more comfortable because I get to wear whatever I want. That was his like number one thing. And he's my little I could say my comfortable boy, my couch potato. He likes to be at home.
Rosanna, talk to me a little bit about what kind of concerns you have in regards to virtual learning.
So for me, my concern would be just making sure that he is meeting the standards. Like I feel that last spring he stopped learning once he goes home. Yes, there was things that we did at home, like reading, activities, different experiences that I was exposing him to. But it's so much different when you have that teacher that has her sole attention towards the children. And me, I had my attention not only towards him, but to my job, to my house duties, to my other children. I have an older child in high school. So that's what's different, is that I don't feel like he's learning the way he would learn in school.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Do you have any kind of advice or anything that you want to, any sort of support or ideas that you want to extend to parents, to families that are in the same situation that you're in right now?
Definitely, like having that space, like I said, create that space in your home where the child is like free of distractions is very important. Having them be a part of creating the space too, like having them choose what items they'll like to be there, what type of comfy chair they want. I have different areas. Not only have I have a desk, I have a table, then I have like a comfy chair, so he can move around and doesn't feel like he's gonna be in this sole space the whole time. I feel like that's one of the biggest advice I have for the parents is having that space where they can feel like they're in school and they can create some ownership towards it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rosanna and Jose, for being here with us today. It was wonderful to have you in the studio.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. Take care.
And on a different note, we end with a piece from Victoria and Anna about the DIY film group Big Mama's Cinematheque that was started and holding screening events with live music to provide arts to the community while staying safe during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Big Mama's Cinematheque is a DIY screening space in Philadelphia that is adapted to hold film screenings and live music during the COVID-19 pandemic. The brainchild of visual artist and filmmaker Craig Sheehing, Big Mama Cinematheque got started in 2014 and has gone through many transformations over the years. but none more drastic than the one that occurred this year.
Sometime in April, I started thinking about a drive-in theater, and that is a direct response to COVID and quarantine and, feeling a lack of meaningful engagement with people and with art. So it was like how to do something that would be safe.
A chance meeting at an event for Bunny Hop, one of Philadelphia's mutual aid groups who provide free food and supplies to local community members, put Craig in touch with Koof Ivy, an artist and musician specializing in the flugelhorn and lute-based soundscapes. Through their collaboration, they've created a space in the city for DIY film screenings, as well as live music. This is made all the more special by the realities of living during a pandemic.
Specifically, like live music and photochemical film, demand that you are in space together. You are in this collective experience. Sure, you have the autonomy to walk away or whatever, but I think there's something essential about that. Sharing an experience together, and then when it's over, when it breaks, you have reactions, thoughts, or feelings, that you share, and then it can turn into just talking, and it creates the opportunity for a connection.
With a self-proclaimed chill vibe, the Cinematheque has become a lovely place to spend an evening and see and hear some local art. Craig provides his own photochemical film pieces, and Koof performs live improvisational music. At a distance, of course.
The valuable thing about live music is being able to share that energy with other people. And that goes for anybody that's there. Like me performing, I can do it in my room and it feels fine, but when I'm doing it and I can look down and see people enjoying it, or see people turn back and be like, what is that how is he making that sound with just a flugelhorn and pedals? It just feels good.
It's also a great place to help the local community. The Cinematheque donates half the profits to local organizations Beyond the Bars and YAS Project, which both help fund art programs in the city. They also work closely with organization Buy One Give One at each screening. PhillyCAM talked to Sterling Pope of Buy One Give One for more details about his project and their collaboration with Big Mama's Cinematheque.
Buy One Give One is a project I'm working on with a few other people also now, but essentially what we're trying to do is to serve restaurant quality food to people for free as much as possible. In order to fund that, we're doing pop-ups in which we're selling the same quality food for actual money. I met Craig through Bunny Hop, and through him I met Koof. The first event I did was going out to one of their screenings and giving out sloppy joes. I overmake food so that when we're done with our event, we take whatever we have left to the encampment.
As all three collaborators at the Cinematheque met by working with mutual aid programs, they wanted to make sure that was a staple of their events.
When we were talking there, probably the second time, where I think Craig brought up, we should think about who we're going to split the proceeds with and who we're going to donate to.
Though the future of the screenings is uncertain as winter approaches and the pandemic doesn't seem to be letting up, Craig, Koof, and Sterling are more than committed to keeping the Cinematheque evolving.
In the future, we've talked about what other ways the Cinematheque can continue on. Early on, the thought was to involve other filmmakers and musicians. And then we were thinking about what a more distanced version of it would be, what a live stream would look like.
If you want to get involved with the Cinematheque, inquire about potential workshops, or ask about the time and location of future screenings, message at Big Mama's Cinematheque on Instagram, and check out www.bigmamascinematheque.com. This is Victoria Riley Klein reporting for PhillyCAM Voices.
That's all we have for this episode of PhillyCAM Voices. Thank you for joining us. You can also watch our shows on YouTube and Roku, and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We'll see you next time.